Is that going on the steering wheel?
You can do. You got to put it there.
That wasn't funny.
I know, all right, fine. It's not the greatest start to a hello. This is FtLoC from a special location. We're in the Volvo XC60 T6R design. Have I got that right?
Yeah, you got that right.
Excellent, good. Which Charlie's been driving mostly. This is actually the first time I've sat in the driver's seat. And so we've created a temporary studio in our long-termer because we've been shooting my Mercedes, which is just over there, which is going back fairly soon for its end-of-term long-termer thing. But we thought we'd do a Christmas FtLoC for you all for the festive season. So we've
decorations.
Yeah, that's right. Got my Stilo helmet back there. We found an elf.
The elf still has his price tag on.
Does he? Oh well. It's all right. It's £3. There we are. So, welcome to FtLoC. It's going to be a little bit different this time, obviously because we're in here and Charlie's with me, not Drew. Yeah. So let's start with this.
Yeah.
As we're in it, and just say a bit about
what do you think of it so far?
I mean, it's very nice. So
just sitting in it.
I always just sitting in it. Well, I like the fact it's got little Swedish flags on it.
It's got one here as well now.
Oh, nice. I always think of Volvos as the cars that actually you can reliably tell somebody. I can't remember the last time I was actually at a dinner party, but that sort of that mythical situation where you go to dinner parties. So perhaps standing around the pubs, but I can't remember the last time I went to a pub either. But anyway, when somebody asks you and you know they're not really into cars as such, they just want what should I buy, and it's generally VW Golf.
Yeah, that's true.
But also now Volvo, because the ones I've driven recently have always been just a really nice thing to be in. It might not be the sort of the thing that's going to make you really long for a great piece of road necessarily, but the ride is very good. The infotainment works. It's easy to live with.
It's very nice.
It feels well finished. It's got that image that I think Audi probably had it about 20 years ago, something like that, which was this. Just you could turn up anywhere and it's sort of classless, isn't it? Really, Saab had that a bit as well.
Yeah, Saab.
And it's
I grew up in a family of Saabs and Volvos, so I'm very at home in there.
Well, I spent so long in a silver Volvo Estate 240, and it had blue velour seats in it. I still remember those really well. It had heated seats in the front as well, which was quite a thing back then. Which of course I never got to really benefit from because I was too small to sit in the front anyway. Yeah. So, there we are. So yes, it seems very nice. You've driven it obviously quite a bit.
Yeah, I've driven it quite a bit. I think Drew's been using it recently. George and I did a sort of an intro film talking about the specs. I've driven it a bit since then, but not enough so far to.
What did you think of? Because a friend of mine's always had an XC90, I think. Possibly somebody else got a V90 as well that I've spoken to. That the autonomous sort of driving mode they've said is very, very good.
Yeah, so I first used that in the V90 cross country we had last year, I think, and I was really impressed by it. And so far it's been pretty good. I had one occasion where it seemed there was a slip road. It seemed to almost tried to take me off the slip road.
Okay.
But apart from that one thing, all the miles I've done, it's been for motorways. It's
just really more
perfect.
relaxing.
Yeah.
Excellent. And what does it? So it does the steering as well as
the steering. Yeah, adaptive cruise control.
Impressive.
Yeah,
there we are.
Is.
Well, as this is our Christmas one, we were going to do some awards is it awards? I don't know really. We haven't got trophies to give out, so it's just a roundup. Yes, yeah. So we came up with some categories of things. It's a review of the year, isn't it?
Yes.
So I suppose is the best way of doing it. And what we're going to start with, you made a list on your phone.
Yes, I did. For starters, was best shoot of the year.
Oh, for me, the best actual shoot has to be the Colin McRae Impreza, because it wasn't the most glamorous location, but just to get to drive that car was so much fun, and to have a circuit or a sprint course, which Kerber is, I mean, what a privilege to drive that car, but also such a cool car to actually drive. I mean, some cars it's a privilege to drive something because you know its history or whatever, but to drive it really hard and properly slide it around.
Yeah, it looked really good, didn't it? The car-to-car shots sliding around. And
I don't know, did we mention at the time, so it did actually run out of fuel. So we did all the shots because we tried to get, obviously leaving my PTCs, my piece to camera, till last is helpful for me because it means I have more time to assess the car and decide what I'm going to say about it. And so we got all the other shots first, all the sliding stuff, all the driving stuff, tracking, statics, and then went out at the end of the day to do the pieces to camera set up, and not very far into it, I remember chucking into the corner, and it felt like there was a bit like the sensation you get when traction control comes in. You've left it on, for a slide, and it's just, there's nothing there. It cut everything, and I said to George, that wasn't good. And then we did it, and I was like, I think you could get that sensation. I was like, I think it's running out of fuel. And he's just, baffles in the tank and stuff. So
I remember he was a bit concerned. He was like, we're going to get a film from it, but it turned out.
Yeah, I'd said
really
enough,
nice
thankfully, just the sort of the bits I'd done. So we literally did drive it until it ran out of fuel. And there was no more left, so that was it. But that was my best shoot of the year, definitely. It was such a cool thing.
Yeah, I think for me, it was an accumulation of shoots when we went to LA, and we spent the best part of 2 weeks out there. But we did so much. Every day was a different shoot, so every day was a different film we were working on, or maybe even more than one film. And I just think, I love travelling around, visiting new places. So for me, going up Angeles National Forest and all around there, up to Monterey, and seeing all the, I compared it to like when you play a video game like Forza Horizon, where you see all these rare cars driving around you, like this isn't real, but that actually felt like you were almost in a game, because we saw some.
It was insane, wasn't it?
Yeah. Did we see an F1 on the McLaren F1 on the road? I think
we did. Certainly, there were 3 of them obviously at Quail.
But actually, just seeing them driving on public roads, it was.
Yeah, it was amazing, and having sort of been around, obviously very expensive cars, it's sort of something you'd think we might be relatively used to, or something like that, or you go to Goodwood or something like that, you think, right, we've been to events where you've seen things, driving on the road, but that was a whole other level of just and things like the Pebble Beach, where you knew that each one of those cars was probably part of a collection. So and just the sheer,
crazy, isn't it?
So it was certainly it was a good 2 weeks. The last night blowout was, once we'd finished shooting.
Well, there is a picture of you of a pitcher of beer.
Yes.
And we shall
that's
say
pretty
no
much
more.
The last thing yes, that was. I think running through some sprinklers, I do vaguely remember that. Or at least I remember it because I saw the film the following morning, and I woke up and all my clothes were still wet, and I was trying to work out why. So, yes. Anyway, moving swiftly onwards.
Worst shoot of the year.
Worst shoot. Well, it sort of leads into that for me. I think must be the Focus ST up in the Lake District. I love the Lake District, but it was so wet. I mean, we did that intro up there, if you've seen the film, of me standing in this river, and it was literally a river coming down the road.
Did George shoot that from inside the car?
And we did the statics of that with me driving the whatever car, I think it was the Kia, wasn't it?
Kia,
Kia Sportage. So I was driving around, and George was sitting where you are, filming out of the window in the statics of the car because we couldn't go outside. And we then filmed the Ford GT the following morning, and went back out to film again. And it was just, we found another road. The weather wasn't as bad, but it was over near, I think, Sellafield, in fact. And so it went from being this really nice, quite remote sort of road that we thought, this will do. We can kind of get the bits we need to get done. We can get that done here. To suddenly becoming like the M25 because it was chucking out time, and it was impossible. It would literally take us, say, I don't know, 3-4 minutes to drive from a lay-by to our turning round spot at the end of the road in one direction,
Yeah.
and then about half an hour to get back the other way just because of the traffic coming towards us. So, and there was nothing we could do. We had to get it done. So, that was the most difficult shoot for us, I think.
I'm leading on from that. I came and joined you because we decided to shoot the pista the day after you had done that, and I just remember meeting at the top of on top of the hill at the location we were at, and the rain was just sideways, and we just looked at each other. No, let's do this tomorrow. Just went to the hotel. But apart from that, I've actually been quite lucky with shoots this year. I think there's been a few. Actually, they're always quite tricky.
Chiron and PCH on the Pacific Coast Highway, that was
tricky
because we didn't have a lot of time.
Such limited time. Everyone was heading to Monterey, so it was really crowded. Everyone was wanting to look at the car.
Understandably, and the
sound failed.
The sound failed as well, which is, if you watch the film, why it was all taken from the go, which worked in the end. It was fine.
Could understand it.
But yes, sound is always the trickiest thing, I think, in terms of technical stuff.
And for us, we can't monitor it because we can't sit in the car with you.
So yes, exactly. There were just two of us. So there we are.
Right, best location of the year.
Well, there's two that really stand out. Well, I don't know. There's more actually. I'd have to go for a top three, I think.
Yeah.
Because there was Hungry Valley National or State Vehicular.
And the film will be coming out shortly after this airs of that. Yeah,
amazing landscape. Just, I mean, it was extraordinary. So yeah, we'll put a couple of shots in here so you can see some of that film coming. That was really good fun. In terms of roads, though, one we went to, which was the Alto de Velafik in southern Spain. Incredible because it was just so empty. An amazing piece of road.
Yeah. I've never been to a road that good that was so empty. I mean, we had 2 cars pass us, a few cyclists.
It was a couple of motorcyclists and that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I could have had a nap in the middle of the road and in the middle of the day and been absolutely fine. It was extraordinary. And a beautiful road as well. It was very cold up the top because it was a desert and down below, but then up the top it was...
Always underprepared.
Yeah. But I think my top location of the year has to be in Portugal, which was the Serra da Estrela. And that was amazing.
Alpine
A110S, which was a sort of... So the Velafik, I kind of knew what was going to be there. I hoped it was better than I expected. But this really was a bit of a punt as to how good it was going to be from Google Maps. But got there, and I think we were lucky because we got there for sunset. We had an amazing sunset, had an amazing sunrise as well the following morning, and just beautiful. I've never seen anything quite like that. The light helped.
So cool. Yeah, the sunrise or sunset shots that you got were
but incredible. Even in sort of like Mallorca, sort of where I've been to Sacalobra at sunset, and that's beautiful. But there was just something about the grandeur of this that was otherworldly, really, and a good road as well, with the white line down the middle and that sort of thing. So, which Velafik was as well. So,
I think Velafik is one of the favourite places I've been. We actually did. We found that on that trip. We found that location where all the street names were named after video games, which we never put a video out. Maybe we can put a few shots in of that. That was quite fun.
That was really fun. Perhaps put that in now.
The abandoned. What is it? Sort of half finished.
Yeah, so it was one of these towns that was when the recession hit, they just stopped building it because the money wasn't there. It was weirdly, this was almost there was a flat, I think, or a block of flats in the middle of this bit, but all the other streets around it and it was like Zelda and Sonic the Hedgehog and
Super Mario Bros. Street.
That was really weird, but good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Any other locations for you?
I actually just thought when we went to Arizona for McLaren 720S Spider, that was the first time I'd sort of really been to a proper desert, the kind of deserts that you see on TVs with a huge cactus, and there's a photo of me I think you took of me where I'm standing next to one. It was huge. I love those kind of locations. I just think they're so cool. It's
so different.
The sunset we saw up there actually was pretty spectacular.
That was very good. Yes.
But yes.
Yeah, we've been
some good ones.
Another year of some amazing locations. We are very lucky.
Favourite film, I guess. Favourite end product.
End product.
Films that we've
You go
published.
first.
For me, I think it has to be RS6, which we've only recently published, just because that was completely different to anything we've tried to do this year.
And we're going to talk about about that actually in a
how we shot it. But yeah, just the travel aspect and going to all the different locations and squeezing so much in, and it was we never really knew what to expect, so it was that made it difficult but enjoyable.
Yeah, and the end product was definitely something.
Cool film.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. But for me, I mean, that was definitely one of my favourite films as well. But to choose something different, I'm going to go back to the Senna film that we did back at the beginning of the year, which was, it was a film that I'd wanted to do for a long time, and to pull it off and to get the time on Donington to do it, sort of, even though it wasn't very long, but
the footage we got looks great. That was the complete opposites RS6, where we planned exactly the shots we actually needed to get, and
I was really pleased with the way that came out and to tell that story. And
that was a really good one.
The right car, and it looked ace. So that was, I think, my favourite one of the year.
Yes. Best performing film of the year. we had to put this one in.
Yes. Well, actually, so before we get to that, because ironically, so one of the things, we never know how a film is going to go down. It's one of the sort of wonderfully frustrating things about YouTube. You sort of guess. You think, oh, that did well last time, but then it. And other things you think, well, it's probably a bit of a niche car, probably won't sort of go, and suddenly it takes off, and then typically sort of something like so the Senna film did pretty well. It's done 150,000-ish, I think. But the film that we shot off the back of it, which was with Senna's F1 car from 1993, was a film that I just said at the last minute, we're down there, I might as well come down. We'll do a quick walk around. It's sort of we're getting extra footage for the main film, so it'll be all good. That's done 250,000.
And how much has the main Senna film done?
100. I think it's done about 90,000 less.
It's frustrating.
It's very frustrating when something like that. We're delighted for the views, whatever, but it just feels. Yes, there we go. Anyway, the best performing film of the year is the Aston Martin Lagonda concept from Geneva Motor Show, which done 1.1 million.
Yes, views. And you weren't even there when we first shot it. We got a bit of early access. I think we spent about 20 minutes or less filming the B-roll, and then
we nearly didn't do the PTCs because we were we shot it on the second day, and it was a car slightly on the periphery. There's a lot else there that we'd done. We'd done standalone films. We thought we might include it in the roundup, which I think actually was possibly the second best performing film of the year.
Yes,
from Geneva, which has done nearly 1 million views.
Yeah,
and we did it, and I don't
know why.
Know why?
Yeah,
it's a concept of an SUV.
I mean,
there'll
be some
SUV.
shots of it now.
It's a nice enough thing, but I just don't
understand you. Yeah,
no. But there we are.
Yeah,
so that was our best performing film of the year.
Right then, we're almost rounding up. So, what am I trying to put here? Favourite car of the year? Yeah, favourite car of this year. Sorry, I was thinking about this year. I was thinking car of what you're looking forward to most of next year. But let's do your favourite car this year first. Okay, so I have thought about this before. Last year it was the Atom 4 was my favourite car of the year that I've driven. I'm not going to include the Subaru Impreza because that's kind of something different. I think that's going to. So you can probably guess it's I'm afraid a little bit predictable, but it's absolutely true. It's the 718 Spider, the Porsche 718 Spider, which is just a phenomenal car. It's so good, and I love the fact that it's natural aspirated engine, beautiful 6-speed manual gearbox. The chassis is just incredible. It's so
benign almost in terms of you can drive it however you want. And I drove it again recently actually, and it wasn't just the launch that sort of somehow made you. Sometimes you come away from a launch thinking, wow, this is amazing. You drive it again later and you think, oh, perhaps you start to pick holes in it. If anything, when I've driven it since, it's been even better. So yes, you could potentially pick some holes in it, as I know people have, in terms of saying, well, is the engine as special? But then if it was a GT3 engine, it would cost twice as much probably, or at least another 40 grand or whatever, sort of, to take it up to the cost of a GT3. So the fact it's appealing is because it's at a price that, fine, is still out of my reach, but one day you sort of think maybe, possibly, it's not completely other world. It's not Pagani. It's not 4 million quid or whatever. So, and yeah, the ratios are a bit long, but we know why that is, because of fuel economy. But it's, even regardless of all those things, it is just brilliant, and nobody else is doing it. So that's my undisputed, definitely, car of the year.
Fair enough.
We do most controversial film in terms of the sort of, because I was just thinking Workshop 5001 was one of the cars that we filmed, and that spiked so many comments about talking about cars that are worth the money or not.
I think it's almost unfair, because it's not like Marlon was really, selling it for that price. It's more the client. The client wants this stuff to be done.
Exotic things and sort of
so it's
cost of going off and finding.
So Marlon didn't build it and sell it. It was it's the if the client wants it, then why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, who's he to sort of say? So it's,
but many people disagree with that kind of stuff. But,
that, and I need to make an apology as well, because in the last FtLoC we talked about the Tesla truck, the Cybertruck, and I got that wrong. I'm sorry. I was whisked into that at the last minute, and Drew sort of suddenly said, "Let's talk about the Cybertruck." And I thought, I've seen some photos. That's it. So yes, apologies. I wouldn't normally do that. I would have looked up more. So, yes, apologies for not understanding that there was a load mode for that reason of being up like that. Anyway, sorry. Went on again. It might do, but I try to be very good in all these things. Sometimes I am only human. So yes, no offence intended. We're going to do car we're looking forward to next year?
Most looking forward to next year, and actually on the Cybertruck, I don't. When is that going to hit the road? I mean, I've already seen photos of it.
I'm not going to make any claims about it.
And this may sound ridiculous, but I really want to film one, just purely from the way it looks.
The main reason you want to film one is because if you look at all those flat surfaces, it's going to be really easy to get a sucker on the side.
It will be so fun though, because I don't know. It's something about it. It's like Blade Runner. You can make a really cool kind of film around that, and I hope we do get hold of one at some point.
I love the fact that it looks so out there and different.
Well, I saw the photo of it driving in LA.
Yeah, it was coming up to a toll or something like that, or something.
And it just looks.
It looked
bonkers.
big, didn't it? But, did look very cool.
But what about you? Favourite?
From
looking forward to
driving perspective. We should be driving M2 CS next year, which that's a bit of what I tend to like. So it will be a good comparison actually between that and 718 GT4.
Yes.
Because same sort of price range and stuff like that. So hoping for really good. And the M2 I feel has been getting better and better and better through its life. So that could be a really, really special car, I think.
It looks really cool as well, I think. Those photos.
Yeah, I love the blue paint and gold wheels. It's very good. So yes, that's what I'm looking forward to. But hopefully, all sorts of other stuff. I want to drive. There's all sorts of stuff. We still didn't get drive a roof this year. Yeah, I really want to drive a roof.
Yeah, definitely.
Caterham. I think we should do something with Caterham, because I haven't driven one of those in a long time, and I'd love to go and have another. It's always good to remind yourself of how good they are, and where they've sort of taken it to on the next level. So that's certainly
definitely. We've got a lot of stuff because we had a lot of stuff at the beginning of this year. We managed to tick quite a few off, but there's always some that you don't quite have time to do. So
it would be good. And Valkyrie potentially.
Yeah,
next year that will be a big,
massive one,
big car to I have to psych myself up for that one a bit. And let us know if there are any cars that you would like us to cover. So not necessarily on the launch schedule, is coming out, but maybe things that we haven't considered before from smaller manufacturers or tuners out there. Then always up for suggestions. We are only a small team, so we can't always get around to everything. But it's it's always nice hearing what you guys would like to see on film. So
yes.
We're going to talk about two of the films that have just come out because we always do that. Db4 Gt Zagato has literally just gone live.
A few hours ago.
Which was good fun. That was really...
that was, again, a rushed shoot. Well, not so much rushed, but, we didn't have a lot of time with the car, and it came out
pretty well,
good,
I think.
Good film.
It was an amazing car. I feel very lucky to have driven that and DB4 GT Continuation, which the sort of predecessor of that.
Yeah, you are quite lucky.
Well, I'm the only journalist
many
done it,
people jealous. I was always scared around the Zagato, purely because you need to slam the doors quite hard, but you're very conscious that it's £6 million.
And that the aluminium is so thin as well. It's sort of...
Everything sort of wobbles as you...
there was a dent in the roof already from where somebody had done something unintentionally, because it just is... I remember my father always telling me when we used to walk around sort of Festival of Speed paddocks and things like that, and sort of pretty much telling me don't touch that, because
if you touch it, you're going to dent it with your finger.
Basically, so... and that was very much like that. So it was a fantastic experience driving that. In some ways, I almost preferred the drive of the DB4 GT, the non-Zagato version, just because it was slightly easier to, it was sort of more fluid, I suppose. It wasn't quite as sort of precise. But I'd love to drive the Zagato again on somewhere like Snetterton. Which is where I drove, because that's got slightly more open corners, and it's those big long corners where that car really sort of comes alive.
It's quite it's
very tight and technical, and it's
I was driving a tracking car, and it confuses me the way it's all laid out. So I just, where's the circuit?
I did actually, and it started raining at the end, and my word, it was slippery at that point. Mm-hmm. That was. I
think I remember, because I was doing Hands on Wheels with you at that point.
It was really, as much as I tend to forget the sort of the price and you just chuck something around, at that point it was all getting a bit serious, and but actually quite fun as well. So there we go. The other film is the light car company Rocket, which you thought would do about 2,000 views. It was one of those films.
I have to admit, I was just, I did not see that doing 150,000?
Yeah, I think it's 144,000 last time I looked this morning, so probably...
Well done, I guess.
Thank you very, very much indeed to the owner who let me drive that, because he got in touch around about this time last year, actually, and sort of said, next summer, if you'd like to drive it, and it was certainly a dream come true for me to drive that. Glad I fitted into it, and it is just an extraordinary car because it is so light, 380 kilos.
I can't get my head around that, really.
It's mad, and I know sort of people were saying, it sounds like you should ride a bike, or sort of you want something like that, and I get that, but to have the 2 extra wheels and stuff, I don't ride super bikes. It doesn't mean I don't like them. I do genuinely really love super bikes. I love watching super bikes. I just don't ride them, but I totally get that whole feeling, and it is just that sense of trying to get the front end into corners because there's no weight over it, and you've got the engine behind it. Everything's sort of going against them in terms of getting them to turn in. You'd get the same with an Aerial Atom in some of the early cars. They've fixed that a lot more now, but it's just so responsive. That's the thing. Beautifully sort of pliant over the ground, but you had to calm it down in the same way that if you drive a really, really quick car, sort of something like I remember it with GT2 was probably the first thing I really remember experiencing it with, sort of thinking, wow, you just have to make sure you're looking that much further up the road because it's accelerating so quickly. And this was a case of just recalibrating your hands to sort of just smooth your inputs into and out of a corner, because there was no mass there at all to turn, no inertia when it just it's in the corner. And even compared to stuff like Caterhams and BAC mono and stuff like that, it's really cool.
That is cool.
People did mention, obviously, I mentioned it at the end of the film, so if you watched all the way to the end, you will understand why this was. There were shots of me wearing my, what's back there, my full face white Stilo, and then the owner who had a black Arai helmet on. And obviously he was there, he was driving on the day as well because it's his car, and why not? And it was just easier for me to drive the tracking car and him to drive his own car. That's what made most sense. So we are well aware of the continuity kind of thing in there, but we hope that people would understand, and most of you obviously did. So yes, that was the reason for that. That's probably F-Type. That went live as well.
Oh yeah, F-Type.
Which is a sort of update, really.
Yeah.
It's one of those cars that I think is...
I do think it looks better than the previous one, actually. It's just a bit sharper.
Looks wider, doesn't it? Because you suddenly realise how upright the previous one looks.
Compare both, side by side, definitely.
And it's still a cool car. It's just a bit of a hooligan. I like the fact, so in the US, they get the supercharged V6, whereas from the UK, that's now been replaced with a detuned version of the 5-litre V8, so it's 450 brake horsepower, and that will come in rear-wheel drive. So the top one's now only four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, rather. But that middle one, that could be an absolute sweet spot in terms of power and torque. It'll have enough, more than enough, and it'll be rear-wheel drive. So, look forward to driving that. Because
I haven't been in an F-Type for ages.
No.
SVR, I think, was the last time launch of the SVR, so quite a while ago.
And it's one of those cars that, again, a bit like, it almost feels now a bit like when the Aston Martin Vantage, the previous generation, and actually sort of, I suppose, the manual of this generation, the AMR one they've released, it's not the most up to date. It's not claiming to be the fastest or the most technologically advanced, but it's just a good, honest, fun performance car. And I like that because, we've talked about this a lot in the past. How much faster do you need to go?
Exactly,
fine. So let's put the right ingredients in a car. Looks good, good sounding engine, rear wheel drive, excellent chassis. Bingo. So I think that's sort of, look forward to driving that, hopefully.
When drives next year?
Don't know, it should be, I'd have thought relatively early next year.
I think
that'd be quite a good car to try and target.
Rumours they are early next year.
Yeah, so, and it's
First
done
drives.
Well, that video as well. It's done a couple 100,000 views, sort of straight off the bat. So people are still clearly interested in it, so it's good. Anyway, on to RS6.
Yeah, we can cover this briefly. We had a lot of comments on the video asking sort of how we filmed it, how long it took us to shoot it, and various things like that. And I think, first of all, we actually shot that in 32 hours. One night
away in Vegas.
3 hours sleep in Treasure Island.
Treasure Island Hotel, which
casino.
we booked at the last minute because it was actually quite cheap and had a car park. So
which you missed first.
All right, so fine. I had a nice little drive around the hotel car park of another hotel, but it was quite late at night.
We almost had to pay to get out as well.
So we were left sitting there, weren't we, at the exit, waiting till somebody came and helped us. It was a bizarre shoot, wasn't it?
It was.
And we nearly didn't do Area 51 at one point.
Oh yeah, I was quite grumpy. I'm grumpy at the best of times, but at that point when you're jet lagged and it's night time and it's like, do we have to?
Yeah,
it was worth it though.
It was worth it, I think. And thank you for all the lovely comments about the film as well, because it really does. We do read the comments, and it meant a lot because we put a lot into it, and particularly lots of lovely comments about that nighttime segment, which we had planned to do.
Yeah, we wanted to do it.
I knew how we were going to do it, sort of making the most of the fact that we were filming in Vegas, which is obviously not particularly easy, but so it's all pretty much all bolt-ons, and then the statics on that car park roof you'd found. Yeah,
and we finished doing that segment at about 12:30, didn't we? AM.
At least,
or 1 AM or something.
Yeah.
By which point we were just
I'm amazed I don't look more tired.
Yeah, I chose shots because some of them, your eyes are just, yeah.
It had been a long day.
It had been, definitely worth it.
Yeah,
and
worth it.
People interested in what that was shot on and how we got some of the shots and stuff, especially in that Vegas scene. Well, got the camera here.
So we actually borrowed this, didn't we?
Yeah.
To try it out.
To try it on this shoot, because we normally go with quite big cameras on shoots, but for something like this where we were going to be travelling around a lot, it just didn't make sense to have a big camera that you're taking.
Because you normally use a Sony FS7.
Sony FS7, talking about this big, and yeah, I mean this is DSLR.
So explain what this is exactly.
This is Panasonic S1H. So it's quite a new camera from Panasonic, but the most, for me, it's mind-blowing is that this can record 6K video on a full-frame sensor. We also needed something that was really good in low light for that segment in Vegas. So this one, that was shot at about 8,000 ISO. And you got to think normally, if you wouldn't really want to go above sort of 6,400. That's pushing it really. Because
otherwise the picture would become really grainy.
Becomes really grainy, noisy, muddy. You don't really see much. So
and then it's presumably harder to work with.
6,400 is even pushing it. Normally on the FS7 we shoot at about 2,000. So that shows how much higher ISO we were shooting at. But it looks, incredible, those shots. I mean, I sound like I'm bragging about my own footage, but no, it's the camera is really, really cool.
And it helps as well because a lot of the shots that then we got, because we were obviously on the move a lot for those 32 hours.
Handheld.
Yeah. So handheld. I mean, it is big. It's big. It's probably, what would you say, sort of 20% bigger than a normal GH5.
I mean, there's an iPhone Pro Max. Yeah, it is heavy and big for a DSLR, but then it's a lot smaller than a FS7. So
So what lens have you got on it for a start?
Well, I've got the 24-105. There aren't that many lenses for this yet. It's such a new system. It's a new mounting system. So this is Panasonic only have 3 lenses at the moment, but Sigma are making lenses and Leica are doing lenses as well. But yeah, I basically
has a tie-up with Leica.
They have the L Mount Alliance.
Right.
Sigma, Leica, and Panasonic. But I basically shot pretty much all of the film on this one lens, which again is pretty good going. That we can, we made a film like that, and it was really sort of one camera, one lens, and a lot of handheld. And
just explain as well, what are the advantages of being able to shoot in 6K?
So obviously we'll never publish something in 6K, not yet anyway. I mean, no one really has 6K monitors or TVs yet. Your phone, for example, will be like you're not going to see anything above 1080 really. You don't get the benefit of having that high resolution. But for us, it allows us to shoot something quite wide and then maybe crop in different areas of the frame just to get a different angle, or just gives you more
flexibility.
Choices when you're editing, to be like, actually I didn't really like how I framed that when I was there, something in the corner there, so you just reframe everything.
Although it does come with disadvantages of the fact that then the file sizes.
Well, the file sizes weren't too bad, but it was just trying to play back and edit 6K. Even on, I've got an iMac Pro, and even on that it was struggling.
Yeah.
So you make something called proxies, which are they're basically much smaller files, and then when you export the final film, you relink the original files, and the export was about 3 hours, I think.
The other thing about that camera, how much is that retail?
3,000 excluding VAT, so what's that? 3,600.
Yes. Yeah. Including VAT.
Yeah.
But then the FS7 is.
So you can get the FS7 Mark 1 for about 5,000 now, and then we've got the Mark 2, and that's more like 7 or 8 still.
Yeah.
I honestly can't remember too much, but it's a lot more. Anyone who's looking to get into filmmaking, this might even still be a stretch if you're just getting into it at 3,000 without any lenses. But I mean, Why wouldn't you? That and a GH5 you can do so much with. It's
yeah, absolutely. Well, there we go. We have got one coming, haven't we? So
yep, yep, bought one. So
so yes, there we go. Was there anything else we were going to talk about on the RS6 film? People obviously asking about the snowy Death Valley National Park bit, which was just still can't quite believe that happened. I didn't even know it would snow somewhere like that. Admittedly, we were a bit higher up, not directly sort of in the valley, but I mean it was still only 7 or 8 degrees down in the valley, wasn't it? It was and it had clearly been raining obviously down there as well. So
that was at that petrol station. I think was my favourite location from that shoot. Just the mountains with the sun sort of going down. Which was really cool.
It was a good time of day, that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's our Christmas FtLoC episode done.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much, one and all, for watching all the films this year and for sticking with us. And we've hit 750,000 subscribers this year on the channel, which is it's a big deal for a
big milestone.
We're still a small group of people doing this. So, thank you very, very much. We hope you have a fantastic Christmas and holiday season and New Year and all that sort of thing, and look forward to a lot more. We've got to say channels to follow, haven't we? At Carfection Films on Instagram, at Carfection on Twitter. You're only on
Facebook. I am on Twitter, but I don't use it. I'm too young.
Say your Instagram one then. Wow.
At Charlie B Rose. Charlie B Rose on Instagram.
And I'm at Henry Catchbowl on Instagram and Twitter. Well, I do use Instagram an awful lot more these days. So, but so we've done that bit, and everyone's subscribed anyway, so that's all good. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in the new year.